So today we're still doing special triangles. But today we're doing 30, 60, 90. Okay? So, I'm going to tell you that this one is 1 and this one is 2, and I want you to figure out this one. So again, we're dealing, oh, I should write this, 30 degrees, 60 degrees. Okay? So let's see. Oops. We're going to do 1 squared plus x squared equals 2 squared. So 1 plus x squared equals 4. I subtract 1 from both sides and I get x squared equals 3. So x is equal to the square root of 3. Okay? Now, I'm going to change it just a tad. This is still 30, this is still 60. But this time, I'm going to do a 4, a 2, and an x. So that's going to get me x squared plus 2x, or 2 squared, equals 4 squared. So that's going to get me x squared plus 4 equals 16. I subtract 4 from both sides. X squared equals 12. Take the square root of both sides. The square root of 12, that's the same thing as saying 4 times 3. So x equals 2 radical 3. So this right here is 2 radical 3. I wonder if I could fit another one in right here. Let's see. Zoop, zoop, zoop. 30, 60, 90. And this side is going to be 9, 18, and x. So I get x squared plus 9 squared equals 18 squared. So x squared plus 81 equals 324. I subtract 81 from both sides and I get x squared. Oh, that's a 3, that's a 4, sorry, 243. Okay? If I take a 3 out of this, that would get me, 3 goes into that 8 times 1 time. So this would be 9 radical 3. Try one more time finding the long leg. So we'll go with, this is 7, 14, and x. So x squared plus 7 squared equals 14 squared. X squared plus 49 equals 196. I subtract. So x squared equals, that's a 7, 4, 147. So 3 goes into this. Oops, take the square root. Okay, 3 goes into this. 3 goes into 14 4 times. Is that right? 3 goes in, yeah. 3 goes into that 9 times. So the square root of 49 is 7, and we have the square root of 3. Okay. If you notice, look at each one of these. Okay, look at each one of these. First things first, I want you to notice the hypotenuse and the side across from 30. The hypotenuse, the side across from 30. The hypotenuse, the side across from 30. The hypotenuse, the side across from 30. Notice I didn't write that in. Sorry about that. Okay, if you notice, the hypotenuse is twice the side, twice the amount of the shortest leg. So if I'm speaking in general, this is 30 degrees, this is 60 degrees. If I said my hypotenuse is x, look at this. We have 7 times 2, it got 14. 2 times 2 got 4. 9 times 2 got 18. And 1 times 2 got 2. So, if I'm given the side across from 30 degrees, in order to find the hypotenuse, I multiply it by 2. Then, let's look up here at the long leg. Let's look at the long leg. The long leg. You know what? I'm going to undo those because I need a lighter color. How about this one? There we go. The longer legs. Well, first of all, do you notice how every single one of them has the square root of 3? Every single one of them has the square root of 3. The other thing you might notice is this side right here across from 30, that was 2. Do you notice how that's the number that's sitting in front of the square root of 3? This one, the smallest leg, is 9. That's the number that's sitting in front of the square root of 3. Same thing here. We have a 7 on the short leg, and that's what's sitting in front of the square root of 3. So on here, we're taking the side across from 30 degrees, or the short leg, and we're multiplying it by the square root of 3. So, if I'm given that this side is 5 right here, if that's the information, that's all that I've been given, that is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and being across from the 30 degrees is 5. That means the hypotenuse is twice that. So it's going to be 10. Because the hypotenuse is twice the amount of what's across from 30. I do that all the time. Then across from the 60 degrees, I take what x was and I multiply it by the square root of 3. So I take 5 and I multiply it by the square root of 3. Let's do it again. We'll say this is 30, this is 60, and we'll say that this is 11. So in order to find the hypotenuse, I double it. In order to find the hypotenuse, I double it. So that's 22. In order to find the side across from 60 degrees, I take the shortest side and I multiply it by the square root of 3. Now, let's change it up a little bit. This time, I've been given the hypotenuse of 12. Okay? 12 is equal to the 2x. That's the side that has the 2x. So those are the sides that are equal to each other. So if I divide both sides by 2, I'm going to get 6 is equal to x. So that means that this side right here is equal to 6. It's half the amount of the hypotenuse. It's half the amount of the hypotenuse. And then to find the long leg, you take the side across from 30 and you multiply it by the square root of 3. Let's try it again. I'm given that this is 24. Okay, this is equal to 2x. That's the side that's 2x. If I divide both sides by 2, I'm going to get 12 is equal to x. So this side right here is 12. In order to find the side across from the 60 degrees, I take the 12 and I multiply it by the square root of 3. Okay, so now the one that becomes a little trickier is when I'm just going to redraw it down here. That's all I'm doing right now. Okay, so this is 2x, this is x radical 3. That looks more like a 45, 45, 90 triangle, but we're just going to go with the flow. Okay, so if I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and this time I'm given what that is. So I've been given the side across from the 60. So I have 4 radical 3, and the side across from the 60 is x radical 3. Where'd I get that from? Right here. Okay, those are equal to each other. So I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. So now I've just found the x. That's that right there. So that's just a plain old 4. In order to find the hypotenuse, I double it, and I get 8. Okay, let's try this again. It's a horrible triangle. I forgot I could do that. $30, 60, 90, I'm given 5 radical 3. Okay? So 5 radical 3 is that equal to x radical 3. Where did I get the x radical 3? I got it from right there. Divide by the square root of 3. That cancels, I get 5 is equal to x. So the side across from the 30 is 5, and the hypotenuse, you double it. Now, not always are you going to be given a pretty number. Okay? Not always are you going to be given a pretty number. Sometimes you're going to be given a number like that. And we need to figure out what each one of these sides are. So I take the 12 and I set it equal to x radical 3. Again, where did I get that? Right here. The side opposite 60 degrees is equal to x radical 3. So I would divide both sides by radical 3. Because I want the radical by itself. I mean the x by itself. So now I have 12 over radical 3. Well, guys, can't have radical in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by radical 3. When I do that, I get 12 radical 3 over 3. I'm going to leave it like that for a minute because there's a reason behind it, or I'll simplify it. It simplifies to this, but we want to look at this part right now. We want to look at that part. So I'm going to do another triangle. And I'm going to put 8. Oh, and then, sorry, and then to get the hypotenuse, so this would be 4 radical 3. And if I wanted to double that, I would get 8 radical 3. Sorry about that. Forgot to find the other one. So on this one, I take the 8 and I set it equal to x radical 3. Where did I get that from? I got it from right here. Divide both sides by radical 3. I get 8 over radical 3 equals x. But I can't have radical 3 in the denominator. And because I can't have radical 3 in the denominator, that means I'm going to multiply the numerator, that was horrible, and the denominator by radical 3. So I get 8 radical 3 over 3 is equal to x. So let's try this one more time. $16. Oh, again, I didn't find the other side. 8 radical 3 over 3. And if I'm going to double that, I would get 16 radical 3 over 3. So then over here, I'm going to take the 16 and I'm going to set it equal to x radical 3. I divide by the radical 3 on both sides of the equal sign. I get 16 over radical 3 equals x. Again, I can't have a radical in the denominator, so I multiply by radical 3 on the numerator and the denominator. 16 radical 3 over 3 equals x. Okay, so hopefully you noticed on each one of these, when I am finding the shortest side, I'm taking the long side right here and multiplying it by radical 3 over 3. So if I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and that the long leg has 20 as its length, in order to find the short leg, I would take 20, I would multiply it by the square root of 3 over 3. If I'm going to do the hypotenuse, I'm going to take that number and multiply it by 2. Okay, again, if I'm given a 30, 60, 90 triangle, if I'm given the long leg, not the longest side, but the long leg, and it's going to be 15, let's say. That means my short leg, I take the long leg, I multiply it by the square root of 3 over 3. Now, hopefully on this one you notice that this one can actually simplify. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So I get 5 radical 3. And the hypotenuse, I double that, so 10 radical 3. I hope this helps.